Let's move on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. It's been over a week since L&T announced acquisition of IT firm Mindtree, but the promoters are yet to announce a buyback to up their stake. However, CNBC-TV18 has learned about an important development. The board of Mindtree is likely to constitute an independent directors committee, and the decision will be taken in the board meet scheduled for later today. The board is also likely to consider a share buyback. Nisha Podar joins us with more details.
It's a very important and a crucial board meeting by Mindtree. One of the decisions that we are hearing from sources with direct knowledge that could really come up from the Mindtree board meeting is that they could constitute an independent directors committee with 4 independent directors on the board. They could be forming an independent committee which will be led by Apurva Purohit, who could be the spokesperson of the committee's dealings as well. Now, the committee is going to take into stock L&T's takeover bid, apart from the various options that the promoters of Mindtree may really bring up in order to really protect their turf and to avert a hostile takeover situation from Larsen & Toubro. So that's what we are gathering at this point. And we also remember, legally, whatever the committee decides is not something that the board is liable to approve. But also remember, as per the corporate governance norms, it is something that will pressure the promoters, pressure the board to take that direction in the interest of the long-term shareholders' value. So that's something to be watched out for. The independent directors have a fiduciary responsibility towards the minority shareholders of the company, and they will be taking stock of the situation there. I also gathered from sources with direct knowledge is that the independent directors are not keen to disrupt the company's operations at any cost. So it's going to be an important and a crucial board meet, and of course buyback decision will also be taken, which was inconclusive in the last board meeting.
Nisha, thanks a lot for that, but let's get talking tech. Technology giant Apple yesterday announced a slew of services. It has unveiled its new TV streaming platform, Apple TV+. Not just this, at a star-studded event yesterday, Apple also unveiled Apple News Plus, Apple Card and Apple Arcade services. Megha Vishwanath, who was listening to this event, watching the live stream all through the night, joins in with more details. Megha, Apple is further driving home the point that once you go Mac, you never go back?
Absolutely. This is another move for Apple to lock users further into the ecosystem. But you know what? For the first time, I'm going to leave that part out. And yes, as you said, that I was listening, I was watching, I was trying to absorb everything that Apple had lined up for us. Let me just start by saying that, last week we saw a bunch of new surprise launches and new hardware updates, starting with new iPad mini, AirPods 2nd generation, update on the iMac. So the March 25th event was all about services. It was about new subscription, but man, what a show. We did see, of course, the Apple News Plus, which means that Apple is going to be adding new magazines to the Apple News lineup. As you mentioned, the Arcade is essentially Apple's gaming subscription service. And the TV channels, Apple TV channels, would now let users to pay per channel instead of getting a package deal for the cable companies. But here were my top 2 highlights from the entire show last night. First up is Apple TV Plus. This is when users can say, finally, hello to Apple Originals. This is going to be available in fall with both online and offline viewing. And what a talent lineup. I don't know if you caught up the show, but, on stage, we saw Oprah Winfrey, Reese Witherspoon, Steven Spielberg, Steve Carell, just everyone. You think about it, and they were on stage. And honestly, Apple knows how to put up a good show. So that was definitely a big highlight. But here's another interesting point, an interesting turn is Apple Card. This is Apple's take on traditional credit card services. You can apply for an Apple Card directly via your iPhone, and within a few minutes, you would get, if approved, an Apple Card in your wallet. This Apple Card is backed by Goldman Sachs and MasterCard at this point, and tons of bonuses. 3% daily cashback for Apple purchases made via Apple Pay. No limit on that daily cashback. There is no late fee, no annual fee, no international fee, no increased interest rates and late payments. Of course, we will have to read finer details to see if there are any limits. Of course, there would be, but for now, Apple Card does look like it's going to be a game changer. And of course, Apple's foray into payments would mean that users get further locked down into the system. And, you know, who knows, dependency increases and traditional credit card companies would have to relook at services.
All right, Megha, thanks a lot for that. Indeed, a slew of services launched by Apple, a company that made great razors, is now coming out with a lot of blades to keep the users hooked. However, the most important part we'll watch out this fall is what are the costs at which these services are being offered. Thanks a lot for that, Megha. We take a short break. Come back, we get you a handle on the cues to watch from the futures and options space.